What's happening? Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Coaching. I got my main man from the, got to make sure I get this right, from the west side of the 216.
That's it, baby.
Can't quite see it. I got my, representing. Got the land.
Dang.
T-shirt on today.
I got some more swag for you, dude. We just got these badass hats in.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
I have one that says Chase Stasic. I would like one that says Stasic.
Yeah, burn that one. We got new ones for you, man. I got 3 colors for you to choose from. I'm just going to send you all 3.
I'll take them. Every one of them. I appreciate it. Welcome, everybody. Got the coffee flowing. Changed up the background a little bit. Got the coffee scene. We got little, Jack the Pumpkin King hanging out with us.
Seasonal, baby.
Holly's got it all spooky around here, so it's a spooky good time here at the Kitchen's house.
What's
up, man?
Dude, what is what's going on? So you our last little podcast, you said it best. Q4 is what's going on in our world.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it, man. I'm looking so forward to Q4 2021. This whole year was this where I'm still in the 2020 haze. It seems like obviously we had life-changing stuff go on. It flew by.
Yep.
We killed it.
Flown by.
We killed it, and we still got time. That was the cool thing. Is like, you still got a ton of time left in quarter number 4.
100%. And the thing with Q4, we say it every year. It's the most challenging quarter that we all face for just for the reason that there's so many distractions with the holidays and we really start to embrace that honey badger mentality of this is the separation time. This is the opportunity to gain traction, put ourselves in a better position heading into 21, especially Q1, and then with so many unknowns that we're going to be facing going into Q1 and Q2. So I think that's going to be really key. And I was really excited to have you on with us today and really zero in on like what you showed on the back of the hat, the 100-0 principle, and maybe dive into the accountability groups, the things that you guys have. There's quite a few agents and teams across the country that have kind of embraced it, but I would really say, you guys are kind of been at the forefront, almost pioneering that type of rhythm and structure and something that you're forced into when you grow as fast as you guys did, right? So like less than 3 years ago, you had 8 people, 9 people, and that you can be more hands-on in a one-on-one capacity at that point. But when you get a little bit bigger than that, you just run out of daylight. So being able to create a different type of structure to maintain that accountability is key. And we can dive in and unpack as much of that as you want today. Dude,
it's that fine line between my militant mentality that was passed down through Sir Albie Stasic, all the way, and it worked, man. It worked so well, but it was a huge threat that we didn't see, and it worked so well that our average agent was selling 43 houses a year.
Right.
And but what we didn't identify, obviously, is that they were at their capacity, and there's a higher form of love that we could have offered, which was just the accountability. It's not the finger in the forehead saying, I can't believe you didn't do this, or you said you were going to do this. Why didn't you do this? And what we learned with the 100-0 is when you ask for that, what are you asking for? A freaking excuse.
Yeah.
And that's what we preach, right? 100% accountability, 0 excuses, but yet we're asking for an excuse. We're setting them up for failure. So, man, when 100-0 is the core of all 9 of our core values, it truly is. The core of the core values. That's interesting. But yeah, it's centric, man. It's all based around that. We operate daily with a 100-0 mindset. But, actually it was your wife, Holly, who turned us on to the 100-0 book. And man,
Al Dreves, what it's something like that.
Yeah, oh man, it's 100-0 principle. It
It's
is.
a real short book. It's great. It's fantastic. It gets right to the point. There's no fluff.
Al Ritter.
Al Ritter. I knew it was Al.
Yeah. It's short. It's short. It's sweet. I think I read it in 2 hours, or and then I also have the Audible of it. But it's short. It's sweet. But so the thing that I liked about it the most is, we can adapt the 100% accountability, zero excuses in our business.
Sure.
But dude, it's deep into life. It talks about giving 100% in everything you do, in your finances, spiritually, with your friends, with your family, with your kids, and expecting nothing in return. Mm-hmm. That shit is life-changing.
It really is. It's a concept that you can get your head around, but in being able to practice it, it's just one of those daily disciplines, and you've got to catch yourself, and you're going to grow with it over time. And you're right, getting into any type of a relationship. I mean, you get into a relationship to give, right? Not to see what you can take away from it. And that 100-0 principle really applies to that piece, right? So, you have to look at, anytime that something went wrong or something goes wrong in any type of relationship dynamic. And we're not just talking about, with significant others. We're actually, kiddos, team members, friends, family. If something goes wrong or something is like, okay, what could I have given more of? What could I have done differently? And, really fall back on that principle is key at that point. So no, it's a great distinction and a great point. So really transition to kind of how it is at the core, but in practice, how you guys really try to use it yourselves, but also, use it as a tool, learning tool for your team.
So the thing that we switched up with, so militant mindset versus, leading with love. Okay. Mm-hmm. And amazingly, I feel that those are two different things. Even though we felt the militant was leading with love, it's meeting the agents where they're at is what we changed. So we had a threshold coming into the group. If you're not selling X, we ain't even talking. We might work with someone who's right there that's looking at building their business. And obviously with our lead generation, we can help implement additional transactions to maybe make that work out. But that was it. It was a square peg in a square hole. No mas. And what we changed was, let's meet them where they're at. Let's lead with love. If you're that agent who's a stay-at-home mom that wants to sell 10 houses a year, we got your back. I'm like you got DJ Jazzy Joel over here. I got all these little volume buttons, and I'm always constantly moving them around. Okay, so you want to close 10 deals a year? We got your back. I'm gonna turn your lead flow to where it needs to be, because we already have it mathematically figured out. Sure. And then I manage them according to how many opportunities they need to create, which is going to eventually turn to how many face-to-face appointments. And someone just turned the music on in my office, man. They're always punking me here.
Man, that's how you guys roll in the land. Got to punk Joel.
All right, there you go. Yeah. And so normally there's some gangster rap or something, so we're lucky that it was just but and so we're constantly providing them the resources to hit and to supersede their goal. But one of the main problems that we were doing, man, is we had all those volume buttons jacked up. So when someone did come on and their goals weren't as high as Dan Walters on our team, who closes 60 deals a year, they're getting burnt out and pissed off easily, and shame on me for not identifying that. So instead of us setting the goal for them, it's them setting the goal for themselves. And honestly, it starts when I say leading with love. That's where the accountability, the 100-0 kicks in. So
I want you to, a couple things there, by shifting that's a huge shift I know for you personally, just a whole shift in the dynamic in the culture, but talk a little bit about, how that change was for you. And then also I want to talk about how that change was for the agents, right? There's two different dynamics there. And I would love for you to kind of unpack, wait, we had this awareness. Now we're making this shift and we're meeting them where they're at. Like, how did you guys grow from that? And then what has that done for the agents and how they've been able to grow from that?
Well, dude, first of all, it was so militant style. We created the culture. We policed the culture as leadership. And didn't realize, man, things were going good. And then that's when our two top agents walked out the door because, you know, of unforeseen things that we could have we could have created a different atmosphere and a different environment for them, and
Interesting.
we just didn't see it. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you, and then when we changed, leading with love, doing a more self-directed type of leadership, and I'll go into that in a second, dude. The agents police the culture now, which is why. So in the last year, our turnover rate is we hardly ever lose agents. In the last 12 months, you know, we're a team of 47. We've lost 3 agents. 2 were our choice. One was not. It just didn't work out, and that happens.
So that's interesting. So why did they shift to a way of policing it themselves? What was it that they all rallied around to be able to, you know, to really, like you said, police it themselves? What was the thing that really that they're excited and that they're rallying around?
And I personally believe it's the environment that we set up. So, you know, we set up an environment that people want to work in. It's our job as leaders to set up the environment for their success, to provide them everything that they possibly could need. And I mean, everything from the second that they walk in that door, I want, you know, the good music playing, the coffee bar set up, smiling face at the door, jokes going around. We got a putting green in our freaking office. Like, it's like, that's the environment. And then even deeper, the environment is for us, you know, the lead generation, the admin support, the coaching, the training that's right at their fingertips. So that, I feel, is like a ball of the environment, and it's going to not make people want to leave because of that.
Right.
And then also getting them involved. You know, getting them involved with things that we have going on in the office. You know, rewarding the behavior you're looking for. That's a huge thing. That was a huge game changer for us. When we have agents step up, it's not a pat on the back. It's, you know, rewarding them with something that we know interests them. You know, we have one girl that steps up and does a lot internally for me, and she's an agent. But she's like, hey, you're busy. I got this. Let me find out who's in these next accountability groups, and I'll set them up in the days and the times. It took hours out of my schedule for her to do that. She's a foodie. We got her a gift card to the best restaurant in town that she loves, so her and her boyfriend can go to it. Like, if you reward the behavior you're looking for, in return, loyalty will just, like, it breeds, man. It's crazy.
No, it really is. And, you know, everything that you're talking about is really finding, you know, the true, you know, creating the environment to where their internal motivation can really thrive. And, you know, we've talked a lot about, you know, from emotional intelligence and, you know, the 5 core tenets and the pillars of emotional intelligence. And one of them is motivation. And, you know, you can't motivate another human being. You can inspire them. So what I'm hearing that you guys have done a phenomenal job of, and I'm not trying to be biased because I know the inner workings and have, you know, kind of been a part of the mix for so long. And I'm just trying to create some context for everybody listening in to really what the core principle was. And so, you know, as they move through and potentially moving in that direction within their organization, it's going to be going, you know, I just want them to understand the damn principle, right? Is really what it is. And it is the inspiration in creating the environment, but there's a couple key pieces. And I was actually looking for this particular slide that I think would be really cool to layer in if I can find it. 2 seconds. Let me just do this. How about this? Hold on. And Joel, so anything there that you want to kind of add to kind of that piece there, what they're learning, and anything that they've taken away while I find this particular slide that I want to show everybody?
Yeah. So number one, it's everything that we do is optional. It's all the agent's choice. It's our job to re-recruit our agents every single day. And what I mean by that is that, number one, if you're not recruiting agents back to your team, with fun stuff, with, the accountability, the highest form of love, once again, somebody else is going to be recruiting them. Just like you're recruiting other people. It's so I have identified the agent's personalities, and whether someone needs a pat on the back once a week, that's what I'm doing. I'm giving them a call. We're having that great conversation, because why? Accountability happens. Take your leadership hat off, man. You're aligned with the agents on your team, and accountability happens both ways. The other core value of ours is open and honest communication. I think that aligns with accountability. I want to hold my agents accountable, just like they're going to hold my ass accountable. When I say I'm going to do something, when we say we're going to provide something, I want them to be able to do that and feel open enough and have that relationship with me to do that.
Yeah, you've created that safe environment, right? To where, it's a high feedback loop, and ego's out the door, right? We talk about ego is, trying to be right versus just trying to get to right.
Yeah.
And when you've created the environment that it ain't about one person, right? It's about the bigger cause, right? The just cause, the bigger cause, what it is that we're trying to, to pursue and to be after. So let me share this. I think this will really bring it home for what you were just talking about with, bizarre. Okay, I guess it's not gonna let me show it. That's crazy. So, anyways, I won't share it. I'll just read through what it is. That's what I get for shifting gears and trying to set up something here with the cool little coffee bar and all the.
It just proves that we're shooting from the hip, man.
This is stuff behind us. So on the motivation piece that I was wanting to to kind of share, right? Motivation is internal. You guys have created an environment to where feedback rich. We're trying to get to right, but also in what I'm trying to pull out a little bit is what's the bigger cause. But within the motivation is that the militant style, you guys were coming from a place trying to create fear, guilt, shame into your people right in the beginning. And we guilty, right? That's just kind of, I think, how we were raised, and how to push that into the people that we're leading. And it doesn't last, right? It breaks trust. And like you said, your top people go walking out the door. So the other piece is then comes back around to extrinsic, right? You talked about it, rewarding the behavior, but it works. It's good, but we have to be careful about how we do it. So, we used to have prize money for top sales for the month, right? The thing is that once somebody wins it and it stays the same, they don't get as excited the next go around, right? So I remember we did a big celebration that we had set up for one of our mastermind members, and it was cruising to 100. And so it was a whole quarter. Their goal within their entire company was to take 100 listings over the quarter. And, we created the theme, and they were going on a cruise. And so if you had to hit X number to qualify, the team, everybody got to go. And, they hit it, and everybody was so pumped, so rallied around it. Well, we didn't do it for a couple quarters, and then we brought it back, and it didn't have the same impact. And so when you all you do and you face and you look at and try to create an environment to where you want people to be motivated by extrinsic things, is that you always have to keep it bumping it up. It always has to be more. Now, the other three motivators, and this is I want to really hit on this because this is what you guys are doing. Okay. And I want everybody listening in, these are the takeaways. So the main one, and this is what I'm trying to pull out, is what is the purpose, right? It's intrinsic. So like we're living from a sense of purpose. Like, are we helping them find their purpose? Are they in alignment to the Stasic Group's purpose, bigger just cause? what the impact that you guys are trying to have within, the Cleveland market and beyond, right? And are your people in alignment to that and bought into that, right? That's the first level that feels good, right? The other two motivators, they work, but they're not sustainable. These right here start to get sustainable. And this is what I'm seeing you guys are doing a phenomenal job of. And this is what I want to highlight for everybody listening in so that they can be thinking about this. And are they doing these things inside of their organization? The fourth one is it's freaking fun, right? All the stuff, the environment, how you guys have it set up. Does it feel like play? Right? Does it feel like play? Is it fun? Is it fun? Do I love doing what I'm doing?
Right.
And then the other thing is the actual love of the thing, right? Finding people and understanding, do I love real estate? Do I love being a part of this organization? Do I love improving? Do I love having the impact? So those are the three things. And that's what I'm seeing you guys are doing a great job of. And that's the takeaway, right? For everybody that's listening into this 100-0 principle conversation, how not only, it's implementing it into your organization, but also living it, right? Living that and creating this environment that allows people to be motivated by the things that really push it forward. And the teams, the organizations, the companies, the things in the future are going to be rallied around. They're going to create the motivation of the intrinsic, the play, and the love with the alignment to your purpose, right? Getting them to commit, which I want you to talk about as well, commitment to play all out, have fun, love what you're doing, and really at the end of the day, love each other, right? Just care, right? And you guys as leaders, care is the glue. And if you get that and that militant style, right? We used to say we cared about our people, but at the end of the day, it was more about us than it was about them. Yeah. So it's like, do you really care about your people? And do they feel like you care? Because care is the glue around leadership. So I hit there on commitment. So talk a little bit about commitment and how that has had a tremendous impact on your guys' organization and creating this culture. And, I think it's so critical to this whole process.
So I smiled when you said the word commitment because it became my favorite word. And here's why, we don't know what we don't know. And everybody focuses on what? Their goal. I got this goal. I have this, but either they don't know what they need to do to run towards that goal, to hit that goal, to get at that goal. They think that they know. But what we did was it's all about the micro commitments that you need to do on a daily and a weekly basis to, along the journey of your destination, which is the goal. So we totally changed the vocabulary of our agents. It's no longer, we still hear it to this day. They'll be on our huddle and they'll say things like, oh, I have to accomplish my goals for my 100-0 accountability group. And we're like, your what? Oh, my commitments towards my goals. Exactly. It's your micro commitments. Yes, what you and I talked about plenty of times is, the true leaders, the true experts, because we throw around that term very loosely. I mean, an expert is constantly, honing your skills in order to be the best version of yourself. And they're always up to date on the market. But the micro commitments, what they do is they take them, they master them, and then they stack them. And then they go on to the next one. They master that and they stack them. And next, their business is growing and it's a well-rounded business. They've already have that, but they're consistent about it. And I think that's what commitment teaches you is adding those consistent things to your schedule. But now the accountability that kind of ties everything in is, hey, someone's going to hold you accountable to your commitments, and plus minus equal kick in. Right. Or what we say sometimes, reach up, reach down. But the plus minus equal is phenomenal when you get a group of people together and you have people that outsell you, that are above you, that you look up to. You have people that aren't at your level yet, or you have people that are right at your level. It's unbelievable because people above you don't want to see you fail. They want to pick you up. They want to bring you up to what works for them and help you out. Same thing with what you're supposed to do. Look down. Pull up somebody that's below you that you could add value to in their business. But the equal, I think, is the best one because the equal calls out your bullshit.
Yeah, it's that accountability.
Yeah, and so, man, the word commitment is just huge, and it's so the self. It's a self leadership way of doing the whole
Sure.
accountability. So, it's more along the lines of, all right, so we made these commitments. We made these 3 actionable, measurable commitments for the week until we meet next time. Here's your accountability partner. And we meet up again the next week. How did you do on your commitments? Well, I wasn't able, I wanted to say I wanted to go to the gym 5 times this past week. I only made it 3. That's great. Was there anything in your power that you could have done to hold your commitment? What's the answer every single time? Of course there was.
So this is where 100-0 kicks in.
Yeah, but here's what the cool thing about it is it finds their capacity. Everybody's business is different. That's where that militant style goes out the window. John, your business would be, if we got into sales again, your business would be different than my business, would be different than Al's business, Jay's business. Everybody's personality and business is different. So therefore, their capacity is different. So when we hear people making commitments like, I'm going to make 200 dials this week, well, depending on their life and what's going on in their situation and personality, that might be a wrong commitment, but they're easily going to find their capacity. And then, so if they're only able to do 150 dials a week, they need to figure out, okay, was there anything I could have done in my power to hit that 200 number? And if there wasn't, that's okay. But we need to reestablish our commitments so we're not setting ourselves up for failure. And then, it just makes them think bigger. It pushes them a little bit. Once again, they don't want to let anybody down. And, and what we do is the key is are you ready to recommit?
Yeah. I think too, the big thing, it's shining the light, right? What we reveal, we can heal. And it's creating that awareness and letting them, see, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so where else is this showing up in your life? Right. So you're not keeping your commitments for your finance. What about the other equities, right? No. Health, wealth, and relationships. So if it's not having an impact within your wealth, like where else is this showing up? Is this showing up in your commitments to your relationships? Is it, is it showing up in your commitments to, your health? Is it, where else is this showing up? Because if it's showing up here, it's showing up somewhere else. And a lot, it's hard, right? For a lot of people, they don't want to look in the mirror. And, that's where, you've got to help them. And that's where, the plus minus equal, having that to really come in is so key, for sure.
I was so we're going to get a little personal now.
Dude, I was doing coffee and coaching. Come on, Joel, you know this. Let's go.
People. Yeah. You're going to hear a little bit about Joel right now. Dude, that was me. And this is straight transparency, coming in raw from a leadership perspective, man. I was that guy before we knew, before I even knew what the word commitment meant. Man, I was that guy. I was the pushing you, but the non-commitment was showing up in other areas of my life, and I had to look at myself in the mirror and be like, what are you doing? And so, yeah, man, it does. It shows up in other areas of your life pretty fast, pretty strong. And you're right. It's this little portion of commitment. It works everywhere.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And it's not to we want to fall into that feeling of embarrassment, and it's not, right. It's just the meaning that you give to it. You can either be embarrassed or you can be like, cool, now I've got something I can fix, right? Something I can improve upon. And, what's the small victory? What's that small, like you said, micro commitment to improve? And can I improve just a little bit each and every day, each and every week? And, next thing you know, you wake up, 12, 18, 24 months later, you're like, holy shit, man, I've really climbed the mountain in that area. So there's a lot of principles in there. A couple things here from folks chiming in that I want to touch on. And if you guys listening in, you have any questions, anything that Mr. Joel Hollo or myself can help you with, throw it into the comments. And that's really what Coffee and Coaching is really all about. So Nick, what a brother.
He always calls me when I'm in the middle of a podcast. Every time.
And then you call him back. He's in the middle of a podcast. So So the question is, really is, do you recruit for what the person is doing best, selling to buyers and or sellers or other agents to join EXP? So there's a code and a combination to everything. So right things, right order. Let me give you that context, and then Joel, I'll let you expand upon it based upon, what the STACIC group is trying to accomplish. But the principle is, what's the goal, right? What is this organization trying to accomplish? And, obviously then model, then plan. But whatever that plan is, the next step is, what does the team have to look like in order to hit the goal? That's the next step. And it could be the goal over the next 90 days. It could be the goal over the next 18 months. It could be the goal, over the next 24 months, 36 months, whatever the goal is. And then you have to say, okay, what does the team have to look like in order to hit the goal? And you look at the functions, you look at, okay, number of head count within a particular, function of the business. So if sales, if you have a strong sales growth goal, and, per agent average, without the militant, I'm going to ride you like a Shetland pony every day, structure, what is the average that our salesperson is going to do? It's just math, right? So do the math. What's the head count have to look like? And then, that's the team, right? What the team and the structure has to look like. But as far as skill set, we look at two things. And Joel, you can, give some context to this as well. We've always looked at, number one, core value fit. Go back to Lencioni's ideal team player. They're hungry, they're humble, they're smart, right? They have to check all three of those boxes: hungry, humble, and smart. And then they have to align to our core values. They have to align to your 100-0 principle. They have to, align to, commitment to consistent growth, right? Whatever it is at your core that is non-negotiable for you, they have to check those boxes. And then the other box is, do they have some type of sales, if we're talking about agents, right? Sales ability, or, the willingness to improve and put the work in to improve on that. But it comes back to, what is the goal? And then what does the team have to look like? As far as agents go, one of our clients yesterday, actually maybe a couple of days ago, we were talking about the different levels of opportunity, right? So if I'm going to give you more resources, I'm going to give you more time, I'm going to give you opportunities, then the compensation trade-off has to be greater, right? You're going to have to give more for me to be able to give you more, right? That just in that regard, right? Just from a math standpoint. And then he said, so that's the team model, right? As we all understand it to be. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm at EXP, I can just sponsor you. And then whatever that value proposition looks like. And then he said, something's missing in the middle. And I said, yeah, what's that next stage, right? That step of the growth, right? Maybe they're a new agent. They need more. They're going to pay more for what you're able to give. But then they get to that next tier. What does that look like to where financially it makes sense for you as a business to what you can provide, before they just maybe go out on their own and you're just their sponsor and they're growing their own organization. And he said, man, it's the broker model, right? He goes, team model, broker model, EXP model. And I was like, the way he put it, and he said, the broker model, right? You give them a higher split. You don't give them as much stuff, but you give them a little bit. And, it works for the masses. It doesn't work unless if your whole business is just built on that, it doesn't work. And I was like, that's the perfect stage. I said, most agents can understand that, right? Hey, we've got this team opportunity. We've got this brokerage opportunity. And then I can just be your sponsor and help you grow your empire. Opportunity. So it was just cool how he broke it down and was able to speak the agent language that an agent would understand, those different tiers. And I just thought it was a fantastic way to look at it, instead of trying to make it more complicated than what it is. We know agents can get their head around those three things.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I have a client right now in Florida who's doing exactly what you just said, and very successful at it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can give all these fancy names, my platinum partner, my my partner, my this, that, the other, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like team model, brokerage model, empire model, whatever you want to call it, right? I'll just sponsor you at EXP.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was great to keep it simple like that for agents to understand.
Dude, I love it. Well, I mean, so to piggyback off of kind of what you said, I mean, what we do internally is, we honestly, I'm a firm believer in strengths and weaknesses. When we say we meet people where they're at, we identify their personalities. What are they good with? What are they good at? What are they not good at? And honestly, it's my job to plug the holes at what they're not good with. So, if they are predominantly a buyer's agent, I am not going to force them into anything that they don't want to do, because we have plenty of other agents that will take that up. But what I do know is that I think this person used, recruit. All your problems can be solved by recruiting. So for us, it's a huge numbers game. I mean, I don't care if it's a 90-10 rule, 80-20 rule, whatever the hell it is. If it's a 90-10 rule, that's great. I'm going to bring on 10 new people, and I know one of them is going to kill it. So everything can be solved by recruiting as long as you're doing it the right way. But yeah, I mean, I have we're starting new selling listing lead generation right now. I'm in need of a couple listing agents, and we've put it out there. Like, I've contacted a couple people. I've been watching you. I see what you're doing. It's impressive. Would you mind getting together with me and talking to me a little bit about what's working for you? And then, hey, let me show you what holes that we're going to be able to plug in, what's not working for you.
Right. So you nailed, right there, talking about, what are their strengths and weaknesses and helping them realize that, right? Are they embraced around it? And anybody can do anything. So this is where, the personality tools are good. They're just a good level of awareness, but that you should not dictate based upon that personality profile. Right. And so I've had great listing agents that were high C's, right? And great listing agents that were high D's. And so great listing agents that were high S's. So, we're talking about the DISC. The one thing that you have to understand about the DISC is that it's just going to really show you where you're kind of in that zone of genius, right? To where your energy is not exhausted. Yeah. So a high C that is in a typical D type of role, they can crush it, but I can tell you at the end of the day, they're going to be home. They're going to go home exhausted because they're not in their natural flow of energy. Okay. And, without going down some rabbit hole here, but that's what you have to understand especially with the DISC profile, is just understand where they're going to be in their energy zone to where they're not going to completely tap it. So we've got some agents like that are there. So I know if they're that personality profile that we have to build in recovery time. So, there may be a day during the week to where they completely unplug, right? And maybe, they're off to a massage, they're off, put them in the damn, float tank, just get them some isolation, whatever needs to happen so they can bounce back that recovery to bounce back that energy. And so you as a leader, once you know kind of what their profile makeup is, then you can help them navigate the recovery side of things as well. Proficient and passion. I think that's what I hear what you're looking for when you said that, play in your zone, play in your strengths. Yeah. What are you really proficient at, right? What are you good at? And then what are you passionate about, right? So going back to energy, all passion is energy. When you get to play in an area to where you're passionate, right? Your energy level just stays at the highest levels. It doesn't get tapped. And so that's really what you're looking for, is like, okay, who's really passionate about this and who's really proficient in this area? And that's what you guys are looking for. You're looking for somebody that's crushes on the listing side. They're really, really good at it. They're proficient and they freaking love doing it. And so that's kind of the two triggers that I would add in there, to what I believe that's Tish that's asking, is like, find proficiency, find passion, and plug them into that role.
And I know this is not what Darren Hardy meant, okay, but I think we can kind of place it a little bit. When we are talking to either a buyer's or a seller's agent, honestly, like that's what their expertise is in, right? And I want to fuel them and reward them for that. So, Darren Hardy says you could be mediocre at a few things, or you could be world-class at one or two things. So I would rather than be world-class if they are a listing agent. I want them to fuel them, give them the most resources as possible, and watch them be world-class at that rather than getting diluted in other areas.
So another kind of just a little more clarity coming in. As a first start, I've identified individuals, teams, brokers. How much time should I spend on each group, and how much time can be found for huge success in the first 30 days? So, it has the time allotment to be able to commit. Are we talking about once they're on board, how much time you're going to give them, or are you talking about how much time you're looking to, put into going after them? From a recruiting standpoint. So I think there's two different slight distinction there. So if you can give some, clarity, is that focused on the recruiting side, or is that focused on onboarding and retention side? On the onboarding and retention side, and Joel, you can, speak to this better than most. That's where the team splits. To get them on board. Okay, so Joel, I'll let you kind of piggyback, but let me finish this thought on once they're already on board. Well, if they're in a team environment and they're paying a 50-50 split for business you're giving them, you're going to give them more time. That's what they're paying for, right? They're paying for more time. And so when they transition and they're skilled and they don't want much more of your time or much more of your opportunities, then you're not going to give them that, right? You're going to do it in a one-to-many setting versus maybe some one-to-one setting. And then obviously on the sponsor side, whatever rhythm, whatever they need, making sure they're plugged in, checking on them, whatever structure needs to be set up based upon that. So getting clarity on this question, Joel, allocation of time spent on recruiting for individuals, teams, brokerages. Give some context on that, and then I'll maybe try to fill in the gaps.
So, all right, I'm gonna come at it from a little bit different angle. So what we do is, we cast the wide net. You know how we do it, man. We're our number one, I don't want to say goal, let's use the word commitment. Our number one commitment to our community, and I'm not talking Westlake, Ohio, where our office is. Our community is my real estate community. It's local, it's national, it's big. And so my commitment is to out-train my damn competition every day. So how do we do that? I talk to our recruits, and I hook them up with things like your live trainings every single Tuesday, every Wednesday. I do something for Expert Mentors Live CLE here in Cleveland every single Friday at 9:30 a.m. I hook them up with that webpage. I hook them up with our mastermind, our group's private Facebook page, so they can see our interaction. So we hit them with virtual training events. We hit them with our live training events. We invite everybody. So we came from the mindset of cast that wide net. Don't worry about recruiting. Let's worry about inviting first. Get people there. We have all their information, and now we start reaching out and recruiting. We got drip campaigns for all that stuff. We have personal. It's very high end. If I were to say, it's not a traditional drip campaign where they know it's a drip campaign. We do that. We do all of our co-brokes. I'm constantly taking them out for coffee, but what I know is the best advice that I was given by Gene Frederick. Actually, he said, and I appreciate someone saying, what does it look like? Is it a 30-day plan? The plan is if they're not ready in 30 days, they will be ready in 6 months. It's our duty to continually go after them and constantly just all I do is add value, and you get that return on your investment. I don't know if that answers the question, but no, there's no 30-day plan for us. It's hands on deck. And then I identify the different personalities that I'm trying to recruit or invite. And that's what I work towards.
Yeah. I think it's an invite. Step number one, make your list, look for all your low hanging fruit, and your whole mindset and communication has got to be how's business, right? That's got to be just your immediate go-to default question, right? Anytime you're what's up, man? How you doing? How's business? Right? You guys growing? You guys growing? You guys gonna hit your goal? Shit, that's awesome. What's working? Right? What are you most concerned about? Right? You're trying to isolate what their problem is, and then in a one-on-one capacity, but then being able to having a place to let them go to, right? So like you guys have created, the Facebook group, and just constantly as you talk to people, invite in there, and then you're just being consistent with just adding value. And you can throw offers out there. Hey, if you're struggling, you want to maybe jump on, I'm opening up some time in the calendar this week for some one-on-one strategy sessions. If you guys want to take advantage of it, go to XYZ or message me directly, or, hey, here's my calendar link. Go ahead and schedule that time. So you can throw some offers out there for a strategy type of call. And then, hey, based upon what you're telling me, if there was a way for us to work together, would you be open to it? That can kind of lead into that type of dialogue. And, or you can say, hey, that sounds like a great question that I think, Al might be able to help us with, or Joel might be able to help us with. If I was able to get us on a three-way call with Joel to talk about that, would you be open to it?
Yep.
Great. Hey, Joel, I've got, this agent, this team, this is what they're wrestling with. I don't know if they've, they by this point, a lot of agents have not, but a lot of agents have been exposed to EXP, not necessarily in the capacity that they understand the model truly,
right?
Or they understand aligning with us, what that means, yep. Right? So always, hey, hey, I've got a great video to watch. If I were able to send it over, would you be able to watch it? Hey, I've got a great, I'm pretty sure Joel knows how to answer this. If I could get us on a call, would you jump on? Just always as that default. But before you start doing that, you got to figure out their pain point. You got to figure out their problem and work from there.
Yeah. I'll tell you what really worked for us is when we start the conversation and say, hey, I've been watching you. They love that, man. Their head gets this big, and I'm like, hey, I've been watching you. It looks like you're killing it. Yeah. They love that. And I'll tell you when you're winning the training game is when I'm not even exaggerating, probably at least once a day, I have agents from other brokerages calling me with questions because their team leads are not answering their phone, or they know they're not going to be able to get with it. So they're like, hey, man, what would you do in this situation? I love it. Yeah. And I make mental notes, right? And then I'm following up with them a little bit differently. And one of the things that we do a little different with our trainings, man, we make them so freaking relevant. I hate these trainings that are drawn out, they're long, they're boring, and they mean nothing to what's going on in the world today.
Exactly.
We threw out our content strategy. It's like, this is what's going on this week in real estate, and we're going to train all hands on deck, and I invite all of them. And I sometimes tailor it towards some of my recruits. If they call me and they have problems converting leads, what do you think I'm training on Friday?
Yeah.
And I'm inviting them to that.
It's all relevant. And it's so funny you say that. I have a client that's teaching a class this morning, and he's like, he goes, I'm gonna go rogue and teach it the way it needs to be taught, not the way that they've written it and they want it taught. He's like, why am I going to teach somebody how to write an offer? I'm going to teach somebody how to get an offer accepted. He said, that's the most asinine thing. And so I was laughing. I was like, you go ruffle some feathers, and I love it. So exactly right. It's relevant, right, man? Teach the shit that people can apply and use right now. Right. So that's the key. And what you just made me think about this. And it's finding, if you don't have that internal, if you don't have that training that you're doing yourself, or as you're starting to build it, find the events, find the things that you can invite people to. And one of the best is, I hate to say it. I mean, it's going to be virtual again, at the end of this year. It's the November 30th, December 1st and December 2nd, all online. And it's our NAEA boot camp. If you guys want some more information, you can go, it's flowing down the bottom, attend NAEAbootcamp.com. And it's 70% off until October 31st. So take advantage of it. I think that's a great resource for training. If you don't have it, that you can get people into, for sure. If you're looking for that and looking to invite somebody to something, definitely do that. And don't be afraid to reach out, right? If you don't ASK, you don't GET. And I think that's one of the biggest things of talking to people and then inviting them to certain things, and getting them on, other people's calendars and helping them solve their problems.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes, and they're going to have their guard up, right? They know, or they think they know what we're doing because we're with EXP. And man, I'll tell you, it's like, hey, listen, this is not going to be broker specific. I promise you, I only want to talk about you. I promise you that. I want to talk about you, your goals, what 2020 looked like and what 2021 is going to look like for you. And then organically it turns the conversation around and they'll always ask about you. Always.
Yep. 100%. So best three-way call person, man, somebody that you can see a similar personality. If you're looking for a top, that was top, that, was at Remax. I mean, get Al on the phone. He can relate. Us at Caldwell Banker. There's a ton of people in the group. Just throw the question in the group. Say, hey, I've got a top female powerhouse agent at Remax, and I'm looking for somebody that I can jump on a three-way call with. Who I would get that person on the phone with? Veronica. Yeah. Who's going to get on the phone with them? Veronica. Yeah. I mean, it's just, within the group, man, it's just such a group of abundance, and, coming from a place of contribution and coming from, like you said, a place of love. And so just being able to reach out there. Most, if you've got somebody that you sense has a high ego, any type of personality trait, I'd say you can get on the phone with Jay. I mean, he's so good at mirroring and matching, and he can push on their ego, or he can relate to the solo agent. So, never bad to default over to Kinder, never bad to default to you, Joel, never bad to default over to Al. There's, like I said, some powerhouse women within our group, to default back to, Veronica, Tina, Tammy. I mean, there's a slew of just amazing human beings that come from a place of love and come from a place of contribution that would love to help.
Dude, and here, your moral of the story is, it's called the TO, right? Turn over these people, because either they're not finding authority in you, or they don't look at you as an authority figure, or they're waiting for you to fail because of where you're at when you joined EXP, that kind of stuff. Man, turn them over to somebody else. It works. Al calls me all the time. He's like, hey, a-hole, you haven't put anybody in my schedule yet this week.
Yeah.
Dude, I got it. But yeah, it's like, put in people's schedule.
Yeah. There's another up and coming, speaking, I was just thinking of, powerhouse women that's kind of in the group. There's one that she is a powerhouse. She's just brand new into the company, but I would already push people over to her, and that's Cindy down in Tyler. She's amazing. Yeah. And, we were talking yesterday, and we'll kind of wrap it with this, but she was like, she's only 30 days in the company. And so she had an agent come in and said, yeah, we tried that EXP thing, but the onboarding was horrible. We got about halfway onboarded and it was a disaster. So we bailed. And Cindy's experience with onboarding has been amazing. Like, I can't, and I was a part of it to see it. And I was like, holy smokes, I cannot believe how amazing this is. And so she was having a conversation with her last night to say, the onboarding's changed. You might want to relook at it. Yeah. And, so for all of you out there, there's a slew of amazing people. If you're looking for that resource, reach out to me. I can point you in the right direction. I can tell you, I can ask you maybe 2 or 3 questions, and I can probably set you up with who you want to turn that over to. And so don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid, to think. Nobody's overstepping any boundaries, right? We're all here coming from a place of contribution and to help. So if you have any questions, you need anything, feel free to hit up Joel. Feel free to hit up me at any time. And, we're going to do our best to help you, solve whatever it is you're looking to solve.
I love it, dude. Yeah. How you onboard. And I personally feel you need to be part of that onboarding experience too, because when you onboard somebody, how they are onboarded sets the tone, whether they're on your team or just with EXP, it sets the tone for their whole entire career. And it is a crucial part. I mean, when we were the 12th and 13th agent in the state of Ohio when we joined, and I'll be honest with you, any other person, it was rocky because it was so new. But when you have the personality of, a leadership mindset, it's, hey, no problem. Speed bump here. All hands on deck. We'll all help take care of it. Too many people retreat after that. And I mean,
you said it, and it is. Remember, right? We're feeling creatures. So we have to, be mindful of how people feel, and you creating that environment and that experience, it leads to how they think, right? Which leads to how we feel. And then, how we feel about something is how we behave.
Yeah.
And then how we behave is what is the result, right? It's coach code. Talked about it, every episode of Coffee and Coaching. And so it's so critical. And I just, love how you guys are creating the environment to get people to think and behave differently. And when they think and behave differently, they feel empowered, right? To accomplish whatever it is they're wanting to accomplish. They take the right action. They have the right habits. They have the right behavior. And then they're going to get the results they want.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. That's the code. That's the combination. And if you understand how to unlock that, sky's the limit, brother.
Man, you know what else they love real quick? Go buy them 200 tacos on Taco Tuesday. If you feed them, they'll come to your office. I promise you that.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. Awesome, brother, man. I appreciate you jumping in and hanging with us for another episode of Coffee and Coaching. For all of you guys listening in, if you have any questions, need a little extra attention to help you get unstuck, feel free to reach out, and we would love to make that connection.
Yeah, man. 100-0.
100-0. See you guys.
Later.